So today I'm doing a more of a child related or toddler related video. So I got a request recently to do messes and spills, or how I deal with messes and spills, and it's quite interesting because very recently I started focusing a lot more on Maddie's in this particular area. So I wrote down a couple notes so that I can keep on track, so that I don't stray or go off topic. But essentially I wanted to focus on three things. So the opportunities that we can give our children to teach them how to deal with messes and spills, how we deal with them with messes and spills, and some of the things you can use to help in the process. So first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about my quote at the beginning of the video. So my quote stated, "When children feel confident, they believe in themselves and are able to face new challenges without fear." So when we look at that statement, to me, fear is the number one thing that stands out. And as a parent, because we already know the implication of certain actions, we automatically throw this on our children. So I have done it before. When I would put Malice to do certain activities and I see her going to spill something, my first thing would be to shout at her or to try to assist her to stop that action from happening. And I realized over time that that was her automatic reaction to something. So she wouldn't try new things, or she wouldn't try an activity because of the fear of the outcome. I realized that I had to dress back a little bit and look at it from her perspective. So it took a lot of patience out of me. So I'll also talk about some characteristics or aspects that you have to look at when you're dealing with a situation like this. So messes and spills. So this could be anything from a child spilling a liquid, or you give a child an activity to do, specifically sensory. Like when I think about messes and spills, I think about sensory and practical life activities. So on one end, we look at the sensory activities where it's more of a prepared environment. Now, a prepared environment is one of the number one things to note when we are trying to teach a child a skill. I would use some time to organize the environment so that there's a less likely chance that the child will feel uncomfortable. And then we have the practical life skills, and these are if your child is helping you make a meal, or your child is brushing their teeth, or taking a snack. When we are doing an activity, I usually set up a large towel and a cloth in case of spills. This is quite tricky to tell them, you know, we're keeping the water in the bowl, we're keeping the water in the sink. The reason when I got this request was actually when we got our Love Every box, and she had this sink with the running water, and I had to continuously check on her. I left her with it, but I had to continuously come back and tell her, okay, remember, we're keeping the water in the sink. And you wouldn't believe how much that direction and how much that coaching actually sticks with your child. Another thing I use, or this is actually something Maddie's pointed out to me, what she got for Christmas, the cleanup set from Melissa and Doug, with a little mop, broom, scoop and dust brush and a duster. And the other day, while she was doing a sensory activity with rice, I went back and I continuously told her, you know, keep the rice on the mat, keep the rice in the bowls, that kind of thing. Now it's gonna happen, they are gonna spill things, they are children, and like everything else, it happens, you know. She went for herself, she got the duster, the scoop and the dust brush, and she went and she scooped up the rice to put it back in the container. And it's just a matter of continuously repeating. It's repetition, it's patience, it's guidance, it's trust. You know, at the end of the day, those are the four factors. Patience is something I had to work on. Trust as well. But you have to trust them. So you have to give them that trust so that they can become confident. Now, this is something I had to work on because I would react. So, and it's something I saw just this past weekend, where she wanted to pour the dog chow I was by my mom and she wanted to pour the dog chow into the dog bowl, and my mom was holding it for her and she was like, no, but she'll make a mess. And it's like our reaction gives them that fear. Now if the dog chow spills, it's a big deal to us because we have to clean it up, but a child might instinctively start picking it up, and you'll realize that, you know, messes can be cleaned, clothes can be washed. I had very limited resources in the early years of having Maddie's. You know, she had one plastic bib, and that was the one bib we used at each meal time. And there are so many resources out there now, but it's your ability to get these resources. And I had to deal with one bib. So I just, in my mind, I just said, okay, the clothes could be washed. You know, it's not that big of a deal. Her clothes could be washed, because other than that, I would have to feed her every meal, and I wanted her to learn that independence. In the earlies, we did the sippy cup and even straws, and only very recently I started allowing her to use the cup without the lid. And that was also a work in progress because she would make spills. And another important part of the spill aspect is allowing them to learn to clean up on their own. So I would bring clothes for her to clean up her messes. And you find that when they have to clean it up, they try harder not to make the mess. And allowing them to do it on their own will teach them that these things happen and you have to pick up yourself and clean it up, or you know, you can just try not to make the mess. So I found that those things were actually very helpful. Having a cloth ready, having a broom and a scoop, having napkins, those kind of things. So a couple of items that I see a lot of parents do when they do activities with their littles is called a smock. And a smock is like a plastic, it's like a plastic jacket, but the front is fully covered and it goes up to their wrists, and you can put it on them whenever they're doing activities if you don't want them to stain their clothes. There's that option. There's also the bibs, the silicone bibs or the plastic bibs. There are towels, and of course you can just put them in clothes that is okay for them to get messy in. Some of the activities that particularly stood out to me these past couple of weeks that Malice was able to do on her own, and it's just from that level of confidence and allowing her to do it, was I was sitting at my desk and my coffee was on my side table, and you had to go around the bed to get to the side table, and I asked her to bring it for me, and she picked it up. She held it with both hands and she brought it. She knocked the bed a little bit, but then she stabilized herself and she brought the coffee for me, and I was so proud of her. And it was just me coaching her along the way. Hold it with both hands, watch where you're going, that's okay, be careful, walk slowly, and you know, just guiding her along the way. Another incident that happened, I had let her paint with water paint on a big canvas, and I put the canvas to dry, and she went and she picked it up and it fell over and the paint wasn't dry, and the entire ground got paint on it, and she automatically got startled by it. And I told her, okay, well, no, it needs to dry, it's wet. And I picked it up, I put it back, and I gave her a wet cloth for her to clean it up. And she was getting a little difficulty at first because when you wipe the paint, it's smeared. And she was going to give up, and I was like, no, just keep wiping. And she kept wiping it, and eventually it completely cleared up. Another thing is, I previously mentioned this past weekend, she wanted to pour the dog chow. So my parents have a dog chow bowl, a big container of dog chow, and they have a scoop, and she wanted to scoop it out and throw it in the dog chow bowl, and my mom was holding the bowl, and I was like, no, my mom was holding the cup, and I was like, no, let her do it. And she took her both hands and she picked up the cup and she poured the dog chow in the bowl, and she didn't spill anything. And I just kept telling my mom, you know, you just have to let them do it and have that confidence in them so that they could be confident as well. Another thing was the rice. Like I said, I gave her the rice, I gave her the bowls, and she was playing good. It was in the bowls, it wasn't going anywhere beyond the towel that I put her on. And then when I came back after a while, I saw a set of rice on the ground. I told her, you know, Malice, I told you, you have to keep the rice in the bowl. We either keep the rice in the bowl or the activity is over. And she went and she got a scoop and she put the rice back into the bowl. Sometimes after she cleans up she no longer wants to play with it, but that's all part of it. I think setting boundaries as well is very important. You know, you tell them we're keeping the water in the bowl, we're keeping the rice in the bowl. If not, that's it. You know, we can't play with it anymore. I just deal with it with a level of patience and trust and understand that it will get better, they will learn. And I think that when you teach them like with the utmost patience, it's even faster. You think that, oh my gosh, when will they learn? And it surprises you in a matter of no time. I had a particular situation where her toys was getting out of hand. Even with toy rotation, the place was in a mess and I felt like I couldn't concentrate. And I started modeling how I wanted things to be done. And modeling is also a big aspect. Children watch what you do, and you model, they will model that, they will follow. And I started, every time she was finished with an activity, I was packing it back. And eventually I noticed now she doesn't move on to another activity until she packs it back up. Now of course there are times it will just be madness and they will have all the toys out, but you have to trust that what you taught them they are gonna do. There are times when we don't feel to clean, when we don't feel to wash wares, we don't feel to fold clothes, and it's an utter mess, but you have to trust how they feel as well, you know. So all of that is as a part of it. One of the things I didn't touch on, but it's also a big deal to me, is allowing them to assist in the kitchen, allowing them to crack an egg, allowing them to mix a bowl, allowing them to help you, whether it's wash wares. I don't have a learning tower at the moment and I want to get one for Maddie's because I have seen so many people use it and I want one. What I use are stools. I gave her a stool to climb up to brush her teeth. I gave her a stool to help with me in the kitchen, and I also sometimes I put her on top of the counter if I wanted to mix something, and I just tell her we're keeping it in the bowl, we're not mixing it too hard. When she cracks the egg, I assist her so that she doesn't throw the egg out of the container, because I'm not in a situation to waste eggs, so I just assist her along the way, and bit by bit she gets better and better at it. And that's just how we do it. When we go outside, if she makes a mess with dirt, I show her to clean it up. We have a small broom, some water to wash it down and things like that, you know. All that is part of it. I realized that I had to take this step back and look at it from a different perspective, from the perspective that she's learning, and I need to trust that she will learn how to do these things and clean up her messes. So I hope this was informative. I know I was kind of all over the place because it's so much to just compile into one, but I hope it was helpful in any way. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me, and I will try to answer them the best way I could. I'm also learning as a new mom, but I love sharing what I have learned, and I love when people to reach out to me to ask me questions on certain situations because I can offer them that advice. I do know though that each experience is completely different, and I use people's experiences to guide mine because I know it will never be the same. Each child is unique. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it served some sort of purpose to you, and I hope we could do more videos like this where I can share my experiences and you can feel comfortable enough to let me know if you have any suggestions on things you want to see how I do them, or things I may have seen somewhere that can be helpful to you. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye.